Okay, Mom.
What up? What up, guys? You know that song, the Beyonce song? This ain't Texas.
Oh, God.
Woo!
I hate that song. I'm so over it.
Girl, it is playing rent-free in my head.
It does play rent-free in my head, too. But then sometimes I'm like, okay, it's enough. This ain't Texas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of it.
And it ain't Texas.
It ain't Texas. That's what I'm saying. God.
I'll be around the house being like, down, down, down. And I'm like, okay, Ruth, stop. That's what happens when Beyonce comes out
catchy.
with an album. It's so catchy.
It's very catchy, I gotta
Yeah,
say.
and these, like, all these TikTok dances.
Right?
I
Oh, my
can't.
goodness. So, wow.
Talented, though.
Wow. Yes, they
Welcome
are.
to the episode, guys.
Welcome to the episode.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, people.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for looking out for our episodes. We love those comments where people are like, yes, new episode.
I know. Or like the ones that are like, I love this podcast. We appreciate you guys so much.
We do.
We appreciate you guys.
And please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please remember to follow us on Spotify. Give us some nice 5-star reviews. It really works wonders for our numbers. And make sure you're following us on TikTok and Instagram. We generally post a lot of questions, Q&As. A lot of people send us
Polls.
dilemmas, polls through Instagram. So make sure you are following us. How are you doing, girl?
I'm good. But guys, we have a very special announcement that we have to share. It is extremely special. Gotta give someone the floor here for a second.
Oh.
Homegirl, Sister Uruje with 3 kids has just completed her master's. Y'all give her a round of applause.
Yay!
Everybody raise your jaw cups. Give her little cheersies.
little,
Cheers, girl. I'm so proud of you. Share how it's been. Go
Thank
for
you.
it.
Honestly, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. It takes a village.
It takes a village.
Girl, you were part of my village. Let's be real. It was a very long and chaotic journey. It was very hard. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. But I have to say, when that fall term was done, winter term was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
We got into the groove of things. I kind of understood what the profs were looking for. It was a little bit better, but I'm very proud of myself.
I'm going to be very honest. First of all, it's not about me, it's about you. But like, I'm going to be very honest to say that like it's actually extremely inspiring.
Thank you.
I think more so because like you're a mom of 3 kids, you hold down a house, and you were still like, no, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get my master's, and you just like trailblazed right through it.
It was a lot. I feel like when it started in September, like by week 3, I was ready to quit. I couldn't handle it. I was like, I don't understand any of the nuances of university. I don't understand what they're looking for. I didn't even remember like how to do APA citations. I didn't know how to research.
Yeah.
Research was such a big part of my program, and I have zero research experience. And then all of a sudden there's all these things about like ethics protocol and how to submit all of these things, and I have no experience in like academia.
Yeah.
In terms of how research is done, how you pick a topic, how you like conduct it, what is quantitative and qualitative and mixed methods approach. I don't know. It was all jargon.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I got into it, I started realizing like this is a whole world. And like
For
people,
real.
people thrive off it. And there's celebrities in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are people that we read and then you end up meeting them in real life and you're like, oh my God, I read your paper.
That's insane.
And you just try to make connections like that. And it was an incredible experience. Would I do it again? I don't know. But I did.
But you did it.
And I powered through. And there was a massive village behind all of it. So I got to thank everyone, including you, like, because it's not possible alone. It's really not. But yeah, it's been great.
But girl, the one who really put in the work is you. So take the credit. It's all good that you want to give other people credit, but own that shit.
Yeah, I will.
Because I think like as a parent, like you have so much on your plate.
Yeah.
And like, let's be real, the moms, they have so much on their plate. So like for you to do that with 3 kids, not even 1. 1 times 3, guys. That is wild.
It was intense. And like, I don't know if I've ever shared this on the podcast, but I suffer from alopecia areata. So it's like I know that this happens when I experience like extreme stress in my life, the hair loss.
Oh my God.
The hair loss.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. I think I laugh about it now because I just know it's something I'm living with. But I remember initially when I started getting it, it was really scary.
Yeah.
Girl, the bald spots.
Oh my God.
I'm just lucky it's covered.
Yeah.
But I knew honestly going into it, I was like, this is probably going to happen because the amount of stress that I had was unreal.
I can't even imagine.
Unreal.
I cannot imagine that.
It's been great though. I feel like I'm really proud of myself. My convocation is going to be coming up, and I want my kids on stage with me.
Oh my God, stop.
Yeah. So I was like,
we're all going, guys.
yeah, we have to go. Everyone just stand outside the auditorium with signs.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think I would start crying.
I
like
know,
that
I'm
is so beautiful.
I actually saw a TikTok where this girl graduated and had her son, like she was holding her son and walking across the stage, and like her husband was cheering her on in the crowd. Like everybody was silent and he's screaming at the top of his lungs.
I love that.
It was the cutest thing.
Yeah, but that is like that. Girl, like you're an inspiration to your kids too.
I hope so.
Like,
I hope
100%.
that when we do walk on stage together, which I'm gonna make sure I do with my kids.
Yeah.
I hope that it's a core memory for them.
That is a core.
You know, like walking on stage,
Yeah.
realizing that, you know,
My mom did this.
Yeah. And the work that you put in. And I just want to show not just my kids and people around me, but like kind of everyone that I know it feels like life may stop after kids, but it won't.
Yeah.
It'll just take a turn.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes things will be on pause, but it's okay. That doesn't mean they're going to be on pause forever.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
love that
mean?
you said that.
It's just phases in
Yeah.
your life.
No, I love that you said that. I also think that there's so many moms out there that either they didn't go to school because they got married early, or they were just like, oh, we're going to finish it after we get married, or they were just like, I could never do my master's because I don't have the time right now. But like, I think hearing your story, it almost like ignites a fire in a lot of people that they're like, no, like if she can do it, I can do it.
And you
know what
can.
I mean?
You can.
So I love that. I'm so freaking proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
So proud of you. Y'all,
Also, this one, she brought my favorite cake.
stop it. It's not about me. It's about you. Okay, it's about you today.
But I'm so excited. I'm just gonna sit down and have that cake tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, all right, guys. This killer over here.
Guys, you can do it.
You
Literally
can do it.
Anything you put your mind. I think that would be my one piece of advice to anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Really and truly put your mind to it.
I love that.
And like, the world will turn corners to make it happen if you want it to happen.
Girl, you're giving me
That's-
goosebumps. You're making
that's
me all
my-
emotional and shit.
Aw, I love that. Any of the youngins that are listening?
The youngins, take note.
We've
Don't make
said
them
it-
excuses.
Honestly, and we've said it before, man, there's talent in our community. Y'all
Yeah.
gotta come out of that shell. Come out of that shell. We're waiting.
What she said. What she said, guys. All right, girl. You gonna do the intro?
I am. I got a 1 sentence dilemma.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So this is gonna be a segment. It'll still be girl chat. I still want you
It's
to chime
always a
in.
girl chat.
It's always a girl chat.
Okay.
But I want you to really give some solid advice because I feel like this is a mama in need.
Okay.
So this mama messaged us asking us, what do I do and how do I express to my parents how to be better grandparents?
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, that is heavy.
So I did respond.
Yeah.
And I just said, in what means? Like,
Yeah.
how are you asking this? Are you asking because they're not great grandparents, or are you asking because some rules that you want are not being respected? And she responded with, let me remember what she said. Oh, she said she's trying to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And grandparents have like a no rule policy.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
And they are imposing on her that they were also once parents, so they know what they're doing.
I think a lot of parents think very similar thoughts, right?
Yeah. So how are we to navigate this?
Honestly, like you've probably gone through this too, right? Yeah, I think I've gone through it too, where you just have to like have conversations with them over and over and over again, because they will not understand. And they were parents, but like I think we are parents we're parents, but we do things in a very different way.
Very different.
Like, for example, like, you know, I think our parents were pretty much like, when it comes to food, like, oh, if you want to have Coke, drink Coke. You know what I mean? Put Coke in your baby bottle. You know what I mean? Like, literally, it was like, you want Coke? Here's whatever. And then we are now like a million times more like, I guess not a million times more, but what I mean to say is like, we're more educated in the sense that now we understand that that's not a beneficial thing to give to a child, you know, like the sugar content and all the nasty ingredients and stuff. And I think some of them still, they also understand, but for them it's just like, oh, ash karne do inko. Like, it's not about, you're so strict and you're so firm. And then back then I'm like, how are you? Like, you think you were strict? But I think it's just now grandparents have a very different relationship with the grandkids.
They do.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have to be parents. They don't have to be the disciplinarians. They can just be the nurturers and the ones that like have a good time with your kids and show them an immense amount of love. Whereas now we have the parent role. And so we do have to set boundaries.
So are there certain things that you are super strict when it comes to your kids that you have to make sure you are voicing to your parents?
I think so.
Like what?
Like, I think some of the things that I'm like firm about, like I try to give them like a really good healthy diet.
Okay, yeah.
And because I'm not like a you know, one of those moms that's like gluten free. I'm not that mom, but I mean like I'm not gonna overfeed them like chocolates and like this and that.
Yeah.
And if I do give them a chocolate, it'll be like a healthier version of a chocolate. But they still eat junk. Don't get me wrong. But I think maybe not giving them sodas.
Yep.
I am not about it. I don't do
Same.
that at all. And then also just like things that they watch on TV. That's a big thing for me.
Me too.
Where it's like, I am like I don't like YouTube Kids for the kids because I just feel like they can go from one thing to another, even if you put those things on them. That's just me. But I think when your kids get older, like they're a little bit more able to understand certain things too.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to watch things with like swearing or like, you know, things that people like. I feel like, okay, for example, if my daughter's 6, she doesn't need to be watching things about teenagers. You know what I mean? Because that's a totally different world. Just preserve her innocence as long as you can.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Yeah. And other than that, I think it's those are pretty much the main things I would say. What about you?
Same. I'm really strict on, I'm not like, really strict.
Yeah.
I know I can be lenient here and there, but yes, what they eat and the sugar intake, I am pretty like firm on.
Yeah.
Extremely firm on the sleep schedule, which I have voiced here multiple times.
Yep.
But that is one thing that I am constantly talking to my mom about.
Yeah.
Like, Ma, just respect it.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta put them down at this time.
Yeah.
You guys can work around the party. You know what it is? Because I
Yes.
always hear
Yes.
like, oh, we can't have evening davats because you put your kids to bed so early. And I'm like, okay, then have an evening davat and either I come solo.
Yeah.
Or I won't come at all.
Yeah.
Or keep it during the day and everyone will come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that's just something that I think now, 5 years later, everybody has kind of accepted that it is that way.
Yeah.
And I just don't budge on that.
Yeah.
But I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever stop hearing it.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And other things like sugar and stuff, I'm very like, no, I don't want to give it to them.
Yeah.
My kids don't have soda.
Yeah.
Like they've never had it.
Hell no. Yep.
Like even if they have apple juice, it's watered down.
That's what I'm saying. Because like the juices have so much sugar in them. Like even if you go for organic, blah, blah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's literally sugar in a juice box.
Exactly.
One time they went to a birthday party and they had a real apple juice in a juice box.
Oh, shoot.
My kids were
Game
like
over.
flying off the walls. They were like, Mom, this apple juice is so good. I'm like, yeah, I know.
It's like apple juice crack.
And we're driving home and the crash.
Oh,
the
my
sugar
God.
crash. I was like, never again.
That's what it is.
I'm never going to put them through that again. And
Yeah.
I'm never going to put myself through that
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
So apple juice is 100% watered down in this house.
No, you know what? I get that. Even with the sleep schedule thing, I am firm on it, but I feel like, for example, Eid just passed, right? And like the kids were like at my aunt's house and usually their bedtime is like 7 o'clock usually, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, get your butts in bed.
Yep.
At 7 is like, you're in bed. But then that day I was like, everyone was like, just stay a little while longer. And then I was like, oh, I'm having a good time, so I will. And then the drive home, oh my God. Like, and then you know when they're like so overexhausted, then you have to take them out of the car and they are just wailing. Like, they're so like, just like,
And they're actually upset with you.
So upset. Okay. So upset. Like my kids one is laying on the stairs screaming his head off. And I'm just standing there like, all right, we're not doing this again.
We're not doing this again. I did that last Eid.
Yeah.
And this year I was like, no way. I packed things up. I was like, we're out the door we're home on time. And they were still doing that because they were still obviously so overexhausted from the day.
Yeah.
Because it's not a regular day. They were running around like crazy.
Yeah.
They went for Eid namaz.
Yeah.
They did all these things. It was like a lot of fun for them.
Overstimulation. Yeah.
Very, very overstimulated.
Yeah.
So that's been a big thing. I think another thing was like when I was learning to how to like baby led wean and do all of these things with my kids, that was a big battle I had because, you know, a lot of the grandparents in the family would be like, don't give this. Oh my God, don't give this. And I'd kind of be like, sometimes I'd really experiment and be like, whatever, I'm going to give it anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd have a lot of mom anxiety being like, oh my God, they said not to do this.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't do it.
Wait, is it like the same thing as like, you know, when our parents, like they see parents, they're always like, don't drink oranges with milk. You know how they do those things?
Don't have watermelon. Don't have water after eating watermelon.
And I'm like, but wait, watermelon is like water. It's made
Can
of water.
somebody clarify this for me?
Can
Why?
somebody clarify? Okay. And then when you question it, they're like, why do you question what like our ancestors say? Obviously, there's some कोई उस बात के अंदर सच होता है कि, you know what I'm saying?
You know
like,
another
why
thing?
are you doing bahas?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn.
My mom is all, she's like, बहस करने वाली हो ना अरूज को सामने ले आओ, because literally I'm just like, but this makes no sense.
There's no logic. Watermelon, it's like 90% water, and it's like pani uske baad, and I'm like, oh my god. But you know what? Sometimes my brother will just like, he'll test the theory, and he's fine.
So then,
and then I'm like,
somebody tell me this.
Yeah,
somebody
and then when you say like, well, he tested the theory. Well, just because he tested it didn't happen to him doesn't mean it's not gonna happen to somebody else.
He's like, and then the old will be like, हाँ सुबह देखेंगे.
Oh,
let him sleep on it.
And God forbid you get sick. God forbid
you wake up with a tummy ache. You better hold it and don't tell your mom you got a tummy ache.
Don't say shit.
She's gonna be like,
that's what I'm saying. Okay, like it's wild. It gets wild, but there's so many of those things. You know, like
there's
those
so many
like
of those
anda
things.
and rice, or like fish and milk.
Fish. Okay, listen. Okay, the fish and milk thing is so heavy in my family.
Yo, it's so heavy in my family.
So. What is it?
But then when they give you fried fish, they give you a chutney that's made of yogurt. So like,
what is it? Just milk? Is it dairy? There's something, and I think it's a type of fish too.
I think it's a type of fish too.
It's something. Somebody clarify this for us. You know these desi, what is it called? Mahavre? They're not mahavre.
I don't know what it is.
There's a word for it.
But like, it's also the same thing as when they say like, oh, like if you eat too many nuts, your nose will start bleeding, because it's like. The seed or whatever it is. But like, I do believe that. Or like when you eat a mango, you drink milk after. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, but what's a mango milkshake for? I don't get it.
Spitting all the facts today.
I can't have a mango and then have a glass of milk, but I can have a mango milkshake. I can have mango ice cream. Right? I can have mango lassi.
No, they said you can have a mango, but because it's hot, you have to have a glass of milk after it. Have you heard that one?
No.
If I eat a mango at my house and I don't drink the glass, my mom's got a glass of milk. Doodh pee lo. Ye maine tumhare liye doodh rakha hua hai. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so I had another thing where I've always been told that milk is like something that's like a neutralizer, right? Like if you have something acidic, it'll calm. Guys, I heard it's the opposite.
I don't feel like milk can be no, maybe it can be, because like acid reflux. But did that shit help you when you were pregnant? The milk did jack shit. Okay? It was all a lie. Guys,
milk gave me so much acid reflux. I was like, the heartburn. I'm like, so I would get really bad heartburn. I'm like, doodh pee lo. I'm like,
my god, 100%.
Get that doodh away from me.
The only thing that helped was Tums. It's the only thing that helped.
Only. Okay, can I be really honest about something? People who drink a whole glass of milk scare me.
That's my brother. Drinks milk with everything.
I feel like that's the real villain in the story.
For me, I'm like, how do you drink your like? It's like, you know when you're like a baby and you're like, they need their doo bottle. And that's my brother sitting there, jug of milk, big talk with everything. Everything, he has a glass of milk. And I look at him with disgust. Like, because it's like calcium. It's calcium, calcium. Calcium for the bones, you know.
My whole life, I thought it was calcium. I kept saying it, and so many people corrected me. It's calcium. I'm like, no, it's not. My mom said it's calcium.
Oh my god. I can't. But now I just say it because it is something so common, like calcium.
Calcium. Yeah. Or like schedule.
I never said that one, but that is so funny.
I never said it, but my mom would say it, and I'd be like, Ma, what? And she's like, wo schedule dekho apna. And I was like, you mean schedule?
Oh my god, I am dying.
I can't.
I'm dying. Oh my god, that was so funny.
There are some things that just crack me up.
Oh my god. Woo. Now I'm trying to think of other ones, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many.
So many.
I love that we just went totally off topic.
Yeah.
Okay, getting back to
I mean, we're still talking about grandparents.
Yeah, we are. You know what? There's this thing that I saw on TikTok. There's this like video, and they're like, the grandparents that are like super involved in their kids' lives are the parents that were like that loved their kids a lot, and then the parents that didn't really show their kids love are the grandparents that are not as involved now. And I was like, whoa, like, do you think that's true?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I would disagree with it a bit. Like, not to, I feel like my parents provided and loved for all of us, but the way that they show up for my kids,
wow,
it's unreal.
I 100% agree with you.
And I have to say I think it could also go the other way, where maybe some grandparents are really there for grandkids because they knew that they neglected their kids.
Oh my God, yes.
So they find this as an opportunity to mend that relationship. And I can say this because I was listening to Kevin Hart on, he was on a podcast. Oh, he was on a podcast with Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
And he was talking about his relationship with his dad, and he didn't have a great relationship with his dad. And his whole life, he was like, I never want to be anything like my dad. Yeah. And he would avoid him at all costs. And now that he has kids, he's like, he always says to his dad, like, the only way you are going to make me a happy son is if you have the most amazing relationship with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's so important too. So I don't necessarily agree with that TikTok. I can see that, but I can also say it could be that grandparents really just want to mend that relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I feel like my relationship with my parents, like, I think in general for Desi girls, it was a relationship where it was kind of, there was love there, but like it was never like verbally shown, like, or even physically at times. Like, how many times do you remember your dad coming up to you and giving you a hug and saying, I love you, Uruje? Like, it just did not happen. It just didn't happen. But like the change that I see from what it was with us to what it is with our kids,
right?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Papillon every day, okay? And I'm sitting there like, yo, bro, it's fine, yo.
I still don't get him.
Swear, like, I'm not even joking. And it's just like, my daughter is also like a very affectionate child with her grandparents, but like she will always hug but my mom is so affectionate with her. And it's not even necessarily the moms, because I feel like the moms are the nurturers, right? So they have a lot more of an emotional connection, but the dads, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I remember my dad with my daughter, he would come home from work and he would like do puzzles with her. He would do all these activities, and I would sit there and be like, I don't have the energy. Yeah. Like, enjoy. Like, I don't have the energy, but like I saw it and it would warm my heart, because I was like, that is so nice to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that.
Like, my dad can't hear the cry of my kids. Like, they'll do a little and my dad like, hi, esco pacalo, hi, and they're running after them, and I was like, I was crying in the corner all day and night. Nobody came to rescue me.
And for us, it was like, stop crying.
Yeah, they'd be like, don't you dare, I'm gonna give you some more beats.
That's so true. The thing that you just said about our parents not being able to hear the children cry. Oh my goodness. I remember I was trying to sleep train my kids, or Emma at that time, because she was the only one that was there. And I remember like there was one choo, and like my dad was like, this is not okay. Like, he got mad at me, and he was like, no, this is not okay. You're not supposed to let your children cry. Like, she's crying because she needs you. And I was just like, I felt so like, I was like, okay, like I won't sleep train. And then I didn't sleep train. Yeah. I didn't, because I was terrified. Yeah. Not gonna lie. I would get in so much trouble if I did that.
And I think that was the only reason I was successfully able to sleep train, is because nobody was in the house.
Ain't that the truth?
Because honestly, and it's not just parents, I would say even like a partner who disagrees with the sleep training, or can't really hold themselves accountable for the cry, they'll be like, no, we're not doing this.
Because the crying is so hard to deal with. It's so hard. Oh my goodness.
And like sometimes my kids will still cry a little bit here and there, and I know that now they're just doing it because they just don't want to go to bed.
Yeah, for sure.
But if any of the grandparents, like if we lived together,
it would be chaos. Game
over.
It would
be chaos.
They would go pick up your kid.
Bedtime.
No, they would pick up your kid and bring them down and be like, you can sleep on my lap.
Do you think my kids sleep on anybody's lap?
Right? But you know what the thing that they always say is, like, sometimes I'm like to my parents, or like to my mom, I'm like, yeah, sorry mom, we have to go home because, she has school tomorrow. And she's like, wo kaun sa university? And I'm like, facts.
वो कौन सा PhD कर रही है?
Internally, I'm like, she ain't going to university, but this mama needs a break.
Yo,
like, honest to God,
literally,
like she is going in my world.
Oh my gosh! And like for me, okay, You know when it was the Easter long weekend?
Yeah.
Girl, it was 4 days of us just being home.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, so many people were like, oh my God, it was so amazing. And I love the long weekend. Meanwhile, in my mind, I was like, everybody needs to go. Everybody needs to go back into their routine. Because I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
The kitchen would not close.
Oh my God.
I was on my feet.
You sit down and it's like, mommy, snack. And like,
you just ate,
right? It's like, how many stomachs do you have?
Oh my goodness. And sometimes it was like they would just be eating because they're bored.
100%.
That's 100%. What it is.
I'm not gonna lie. Like Netflix was their teacher on those days. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
We when we're bored too. So
yeah, I do that all the time.
Can't blame them. But if I am not busy, all I do is eat.
All I do is eat, no matter. Okay, but that's a fact. And I think so many people do it. So like, don't judge us. Okay.
Don't judge us.
Don't judge.
Eat
all right.
with us.
Yeah. Eat with us. So I had a question for you because I feel like this topic is like, it's so relevant. Our parenting style versus the parenting style of our parents. What's one thing that you feel is like the biggest thing that you've noticed a difference in that also internally is like, oh, like I wish that I could have had that with my parents too?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. I think it would be the friendlier bonding with like my dad.
I love that.
Because my dad is a very regular, like strong Pakistani man in the home, right?
Yeah.
And I just sometimes look at Farhan with the kids and you know, they're friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it would have been kind of nice to have that. And I know a lot of daughters out there have that relationship with their dad. They're like daddy's girls, you know? Yeah. And I think it's really precious and I admire it because I didn't have that. So my relationship with my dad is very like respectful. It's very like, like there's no nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a strict relationship.
Yeah.
And now as adults, we can have good conversations and we laugh and we chat.
Yeah.
But growing up, it was very like, oh, when my dad was home, it's like everybody's running upstairs.
You know what? I feel like that's a very accurate depiction because I feel like that's something that I would have changed, but not even just with my dad. I think I would have changed it with both parents. And I think it's literally because I don't think that they knew that they needed to be a different way with their children.
Yeah.
Because I think for them, it was like, we have to set boundaries for them because we're bringing like they're in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. Like if they don't follow these rules and they're going to become like so westernized and they're going to lose all their values and all this stuff. So I try to understand from their perspective too. But I think like, I do have to say though, I think now, like, first of all, like to what you said, I think my relationship also changed with my parents. Like when you get older, when you have kids, when you're like getting married or whatever, it's almost like you go from like a immature child to like, okay, now you're adult and I can have conversations with you and whatnot, right?
And like your opinion is respected.
Exactly. So I think there's things that you can, especially with like daughters and moms, that relationship really changes. Like I feel like my mom and I we're so close and all that stuff. But like the dad relationship is a tricky one to navigate because I don't think that there's a lot of dads out there that are not like those nurturing, loving, affectionate fathers because they maybe also were not nurtured or loved like that, right?
Exactly. And I think a lot of immigrant dads came here with the mindset of like, my role is to keep this house together.
Yeah, and protect my kids from the chaos.
Exactly, right? Because they came into a new country being like, oh my God, this is so different from what we know. Yeah. So I'm going to carry what I know and do whatever I can to protect my kids, respectfully so, because that's so difficult. So that's the thing. I don't ever hold any resentment.
I don't either.
Right? But I do wish that I don't know what it's like to have that friendly relationship.
Yeah. And I think,
I feel like I'm experiencing a bit of it now, which is nice because you can always like laugh and joke around and stuff.
Yeah.
But growing up, I wish when there were moments where, you know, there are times in your life where you really wish your parents maybe understood you better.
Oh, girl.
Right? Where you were like, you know, instead of punishing me, I wish we could just have had a conversation about things.
Yeah, exactly.
When I asked my parents something and I asked them why, I wish they had a response instead of it is the way it is.
100%.
And I think we are trying to do that as parents now.
Yeah.
And that also would have been nice growing up.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like, I would say religious questions I had that I was unsure of, I would ask and I was always told it is the way it is.
Yeah.
This is the rule. This is what we're following, rather than, you know what? Maybe I don't know the answer. Let's find out together.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because I feel like that is also something I wish I had growing up, because then I just grew up in fear.
Yeah. I think that's the same with me too, where it's like, you have questions, and I think it's because like their generation never even asked, because for them it was like, don't like, you know how they say like, oh tum jawab de rahi ho,
Exactly.
right? That line. But in my mind I'm like, but I was just curious. I just needed an answer to my question. So like,
hum bado ke samne nahi baat karte.
okay, so that's the thing, and it's not that you're doing it in a disrespectful way. Sometimes you're actually just trying to educate yourself.
Exactly.
Right? And so like when things don't make sense, it's really confusing because you need an answer, but you can't get the answer because of that whole thing of like, oh, respect people by not over questioning them, or like if you do over question, it's like you're being Batamiz.
Yeah, and it's like zyada muh phat hai.
Yeah,
Right?
right?
I'm just trying to ask why.
Yeah, exactly. But then you also like you internalize a lot of things, and then you're like, I can't trust this person because their reaction to me asking a simple question is anger.
Yeah.
So if I told them something crazy, then it would be like.
And then it goes back to like things we talked about when Himali was on the episode. Then the way brown girls' minds work is like you're just out here trying to problem solve on your own when you're at such a young age. And honestly, when you're like 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, how are you going to solve this problem? You need an adult to guide you. And when you don't have that is when you can find yourself in very sticky situations.
Very sticky situations. I also think sometimes those teenagers are so hard because like you're going through all these changes, and it's so nice. It would be so nice if you had somebody there that could be a support system, that you could just discuss things with without being worried that like, oh my God, my life is going to end today if I bring this up. Or like, oh my God, someone saw me outside walking with a guy. I'm dead. You know what I mean? It's never like somebody would come up to you and be like, hey, like, who's this person? You know? Or like have a normal conversation, or even be like, hey, listen, like I want you to focus on school more than I want you to focus on guys. Right? But it wouldn't be like that. It would be like, dig your grave. You going in.
You going in.
Going in. Okay? So it is really scary.
I would sweat buckets if I skipped class.
Oh my God. When the phone calls came from school. It's like, so-and-so, student number, was absent, period, 4.
Please provide a written notification on why they were not in class.
And then you're just like, yeah, Mom, I was feeling so sick, so I took a break.
No, I'd be like, I was a little bit late and the attendance was already gone.
Woo, the lies we tell.
Or sometimes, like when you're sitting in the caf or whatever and you see the person taking the attendance down, I would go and I'd be like, yo, erase that.
Oh,
just mark that on your
whoa.
Even before I made it to the attendance.
No, that was like, you know, when your mom comes to your room and they ask you and they're like, why weren't you in class today? And you get annihilated. Or they go into the parent-teacher interview and the teacher's like, Uruje is a great child, but she just doesn't come to class.
Oh, damn.
Ba-bam.
Oh. I'd look at my teacher being like, yo, how dare you?
Okay, but you know the parent is your parents are gonna act so nice in front of the teacher, like, yes, she is just. We will talk to her.
We will talk to her.
And you are sweating.
And I'm like, oh my God, this drive back home. This drive back home.
Oh my God, I'm gonna get skinned alive.
Guys, I'm actually sweating. Like, this is giving me heart palpitations. I can't go back to this life.
Because when you think about it, it brings up anxiety.
It does.
It actually brings up anxiety. And then sometimes your parents say things like, I don't know where I went wrong. क्या मैंने किया था?
क्यों सजा दे रही हो मुझे?
What have I done to deserve this? And I'm just like, oh my God.
Here we go again.
Yeah, but you know, another thing that like I was gonna say was that I think it's the culture difference is a big one. Whereas like, okay, for example, and you know what? I think we also want to clarify that like just because we're Canadian does not mean we don't have love for our country. We do. But there is, of course, going to be a natural difference. Like, for example, we're fluent in English and it's, and not to say that Pakistani people aren't, but maybe my Urdu is not like on point 10 out of 10. And I wish it was, but it's not. But like what I was going to say is that our parents came from Pakistan, which is a lot more of a conservative, you know, country, right? And I understand that's very modest. I actually appreciate that. But I think when you come to like a Western country, there is a lack of modesty, right? So like people can wear whatever they want. They can show skin. It's a free country, a freedom of whatever, right? So when they come here, there's so much freedom and there's so much of like a disparity, you can say, that you're like, oh my goodness, how do I raise children in a country that is so foreign to me that even I haven't figured out yet? So I have to keep like the doors shut on my kids.
Exactly.
And you are so overprotective of them. So I wonder about that. Like, how do you think you would be because you are Canadian? how do you think you would be with like the overprotectiveness when it comes to your kids? Because there is a lot of chaos out there.
There is.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's like, because you know what it is? If we stayed in Pakistan, I feel like a lot of things would have been normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the way things are done there are normal. So for us, now that we're in Canada, we were born and raised here, a lot of certain things are very normal.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So certain things that maybe my parents protected us from, maybe I won't really be as strict about those things, right? But honestly, to play devil's advocate, maybe I will get really overprotective when my kids are like, quote unquote, in the real world, or like having to do with like high school and middle school and kind of the hormonal phase that we know all kids go through.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like, maybe at that point, I am going to have to figure out how to like, I don't know, rein them in. You know what I mean? Because I feel like even though we're born and raised here, girl, the generation is different. Okay.
It's so different.
And the way that they have knowledge at their fingertips, we didn't have that.
Absolutely.
So there's going to be a huge disparity in terms of like even us and our kids.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel it now.
Yeah.
Right? Like how you just said, like you don't like YouTube Kids because you can go from one video to another.
Exactly.
Who knows what your kids are going to end up watching?
Yeah.
Right? And so we had like a set schedule. Like 4:30, Arthur was coming on TVO Kids.
Arthur, the friendliest aardvark.
Fun. Isn't it hard when you've got a library card?
Oh my God, yo. Arthur DW.
You know what I mean? And like
Best
it would
thing.
be on the one TV, and my mom had like access to that visual TV at all times.
Exactly.
Now, if kids are on their devices, iPhones, iPads, whatever, how do you know what they're watching?
How do you know what they're watching? And it, like, to your point, girl, it's like, how do you know what they're watching? And then when you say, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to get my child a phone. And then the way that other people make you feel. Or like the way that everyone else has a phone in the school. Now you're going to make me feel left out. And then your heart is like, I don't want you to feel left out because I know what that felt like.
Exactly.
Being different.
Yep.
So how do you manage? Like,
exactly.
It's scary. I think they had their own fears, which was like a different type of fear. We have our own fears because exactly to your point, everything is at their fingertips. There's too many things that are too readily available. I'm talking like even like drugs, like things like that. And because we are more aware of it, because we've seen it, it's like even scarier.
Exactly.
So you try your best to just be like, okay, well, we are educated. Okay. We know what things are like healthy for the kids and what things are not. And so you try your best to just kind of like micromanage as much as you can. But then you also worry because you're like, how do I know any of my skills will work?
Exactly.
Like, I don't even know. I'm just like tossing it out there and hoping to God that something sticks.
And it's little things like, growing up, my parents were like, cereal is healthy. Because, for example, that's how it was advertised.
Yeah, it was.
There's nothing, I'm not saying, I'm not blaming anyone or saying anybody as fault.
No, for sure.
But honestly, growing up, like, I knew that it was sugary or whatever, but my parents would be like, okay, well, on commercials, they're like, oh, it's like got this many nutrients and it's a healthy breakfast and overall and da-da-da-da.
Or if it says fiber, game over.
So we would eat cereal literally on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And now I am so conscious of like, I don't want to give my kids cereal because of the sugar content and this, that.
100%.
And it's like, I'm like, it makes them hungry after half an hour. It's actually not filling.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So there's so many, but then who knows? Maybe like 20 years down the road, people are gonna be like, actually, cereal is the best thing for you,
right?
Because you know what? This is how the food industry works.
No, but then I also have to say, back in the day, I was reading something that said like fast food fries was technically better because it was like fried in like beef tallow, which is like significantly better than the crap seed oils that they're using right now.
Okay.
And then there was like so much, things were just made with like better ingredients.
Right.
And now they shove so much chemicals and crap into like all of our food that you have to be so conscious and mindful because you're not just worried about like, oh, I want them to be healthy. It's like the kids be getting sick over the smallest things these days.
Honestly.
Like COVID just knocking everybody out. Like there's so many things that you have to consider and like there's a lot of fear. Like there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's other things like I remember growing up, nobody ever questioned vaccines.
Right?
It was something everybody had to get done.
Yeah,
like you can't go to school if you don't have that yellow card stamped.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now like my kids are vaccinated, but honestly, I was looking at this thing and I was like, what actually is all of this?
That's
and
so
why?
true.
Why? That's
so
the thing.
true.
And I think, our whole lives, well, my whole life, I was taught not to ask why. Keep your head down, don't ask why. But as a mom, I think I'm kind of questioning it. Like I'll do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those, but I will ask why. I want to know, like, why am I injecting my kid with this? What is the benefit of it? What, you know what I mean?
I think you have to ask those questions. I think maybe one of the reasons why our parents are the way they are is because they are all rule followers.
Yeah.
Like they're law-abiding citizens, rule followers to a T. And it's not that we are not, but we are more no, let's research this and find out what's going on. I would say a little bit more.
You also have to understand, and I think this is me understanding this now, is that we're living in a post-colonial world, okay? Settlers came and colonized India and Pakistan, and they made it seem like there's one race that's the best, and whatever they said goes.
Yeah,
How can you blame anybody for being a rule follower?
Right?
Because they were told this is the best of the best.
Amen.
All of our beauty standards, what does it look like? And who
Fair
does it resemble?
skin, blue eyes.
And all of these vaccines, who starts all of it? Who's running the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's obviously a bigger picture, and I don't want to, like, I can't burn the whole world down.
No, of course.
But sometimes I think when I really start reflecting on them being rule followers and, like, you know, if a doctor said you got to get vaccinated, you don't question that.
That's so true.
You know? And what did your doctor look like back in the day? It didn't look like us.
Did not look like us. Not at all. That's very true.
You know what I mean?
Because I feel like for them, it was like, no, this person has like an immense level of education. They're smarter than all of us. And not to say that they're not intelligent. I do feel like, of course, they have a lot of intelligence and education, which is why they're doctors. But I think it's okay to question, to get second or third opinions. And I think one of the other things I used to notice was that they never even, like, if the doctor says something, like the appointment was like this, right? Your walk-in appointment like this. But they were just like, here you go, here's some Tempra for your kids, you know, blah, 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 blah. And like, now there's all these things about like antibiotics and like all this stuff about that. And sometimes you're just like, what the heck? So you do question, right?
Exactly.
Like you're like, let me read into this. Let me figure this out. Let me figure that out. But we're also like, at like the age of information, everything is at our fingertips. Back in the day, they did not have computers.
Exactly.
That's how old we are, guys. Okay. They like, I remember when they rolled out like Microsoft. Okay. Like, I was like, what?
Did you have the computer with the back?
Yes.
Because I had the computer with the back.
And it had a big back.
Yeah. She got a big one.
She got a big back. And let me tell you, it was a different ball game.
It was.
Okay? Like we used to use those like floppy disks.
Yeah.
Like what? The younger gen is like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
We had dial-up internet, fam.
Right?
Internet was not at the tip of our phones.
No. And like now when I look at the younger gen, okay, they are on a different level. Very intelligent, mind you, right? But I think we also have to keep up with that. So it's very hard. But I also think that's what our parents had to do with us too. They had to keep up with us.
You know what? A lot of things that have been showing up on my TikTok right now is a lot of people venting about young girls in Sephora.
Oh, I've seen that.
So what is this?
You know what? I feel like it's like a trend now where like all these like young girls that are like
young
12-year-old girls obsessed with Sephora, and their parents are taking them into Sephora. And like, there's a lot of like, people that work in the beauty industry that are like, these girls do not need these products. Why the hell does a 12-year-old girl need a retinol cream? Riddle me that. Okay. Like a lot of these, like, it's very like trend.
Got
like,
it.
Whatever the trends are, everyone needs to follow. We have to be cool. We have to be on TikTok. We have to show our hauls or whatever it is. And I think that's a very big thing right now where like girls want to be the it girls online and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not for it. Like, girl, I'm in makeup, and I just feel like my daughter asks me to wear makeup, and I'm just like, hell no. But like, not that she has a little makeup kit and stuff, but I just think that like I want her to focus on other things. It's not just about beauty.
Yeah,
because we weren't taught that.
No,
you know
we
what
weren't.
I mean? It's not that our parents said don't be smart. They were all about the grades, but I also think that like, as girls, there's other things that you like, you know, I just wish that like maybe if there was more of an effort put on to building relationships with like your daughters and sons, that we would have been way more focused in life, and we would have felt more nurtured and full as people.
Yeah.
And not lack certain qualities. But I also think life is not perfect. They did the best they could.
Exactly.
As long as your parents didn't like really like mess you up, because there's a lot of parents like that.
Yep.
I think they tried their best, and you know, their best is their best, man.
Their best is their best.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, the grandparents that come through after,
Yeah.
You just look at them and you're like, man, all is forgiven because you're babysitting my kids right
they
now.
do.
Bless.
And you know, like imagine it like this too, because like those grandparents, like they're older now.
Yeah.
They don't have the stamina or like, you know, the willpower to do certain things. Like they got bad knees. They got a bad back. Okay. And they're still like holding it down for your kids. Like my mom's making my children roti like 3-4 times a day because they're so obsessed with it. Okay.
Guys, I was just calling my mom before we started recording.
Like, drop the rolls off. Drop the rolls off to my house.
Friday is tradition, so my kids love when my mom makes anda paratha rolls.
Bless.
It's literally their favorite thing on the planet. Like Ibrahim will request it.
Oh my God,
Mama, it's Friday night. Can I have it for dinner?
Oh my God.
So then my mom has to make it for them. Obviously, like there's no, and she'll like
love that.
come and drop it off if I need to, because she knows that, like, for example, we're recording, she has to come and do all these things. So like there's no like, there's not even a moment in my mind where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't call my mom. Oh, girl, I always call my mom.
Yo, honestly, it warms my heart. To all the ones that don't have moms, we feel for you.
Honestly.
Or like the ones that have toxic moms, y'all deserved better. Not gonna lie. But like for the ones that know, it is the biggest blessing in the world.
It is.
To have like parents that hold it, grandparents that hold it down. That's an amazing, amazing blessing.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, so what are some things that your parents did when you were growing up that you wish you could do with your kids?
Speak in Urdu.
Yo, girl, same here. Same here.
Yeah.
I speak in Urdu with my kids, but I am dominantly now speaking English.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I just hate that I feel this way, but it is easier for me.
Yeah.
But my kids understand Urdu.
Yeah.
But they can't speak it.
So I think the reason why I am a little hesitant is I speak Urdu and I understand Urdu, but my Urdu is not like 100%. You know what I mean? And it's just practice. That's what it is. But I think with my kids, they're in school, so predominantly they're speaking English.
Yep.
And then at home, I think like it's just easy for me to speak English too, because I think my vocabulary in English is much greater than in Urdu.
Yes.
And so I think I try, like there's like, I think my daughter does understand things, but like now it is a little bit of a hard thing, but I definitely am trying to make the effort so that I never want her to be like, I can't speak in Urdu.
Yeah,
Like I don't want her to lose it.
Me too.
You know, and that's a fear of mine that I have. So I want to start doing it more and more and more. And so sometimes I'll sit down with her and I'll be like, okay, what is this? And like, what is this in Urdu? And I'll talk to her and stuff. And she does get it. But I think there's always a level of like, they don't feel comfortable saying those words.
Yes.
Right. So that's probably one of the things. I think another one would be, I think my parents, they like, I've said this before too, but they're very minty.
Yeah.
And I think like, and not to say that I'm not, but I think they have a drive that I don't think I could match.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I'm tired. Netflix. And my mom's like, I haven't watched a TV show in like 40 years. You know what I mean? So like in that sense, I feel like I wish I had that drive, but sometimes I feel like they overwork too. So I think that's some of the things. I'm just trying to think like what else.
It's like a common immigrant drive, though.
I think so too.
A lot of immigrant parents have that.
I think so too, because I feel like
The
for
hustle
them,
is real.
The hustle, but it's also because they were like, yo, we gotta hold it down for our families. We are the only ones that can do this. We don't have a support system here.
Exactly.
So I think it's the circumstances.
Yeah.
What about you? What are some things?
Definitely Urdu.
Yeah.
Definitely the drive.
Yeah.
But also I hope and pray that I am able to provide for my kids the way my parents were able to provide for us.
Yo.
Because honestly, this housing industry, we can't keep up with this.
But no one can keep up with it.
No one can keep up with it. So a fear of mine is that they will be like 30, 35, 40 and like not able to afford a house. And I don't know, like, I don't know what to do. And I don't know, like, am I not a successful parent because I'm not able to do that for them?
I don't think so. I think it's just the circumstances.
Yeah.
But I completely understand
Yeah.
that, because I feel like, and I think we have a similar thing when it comes to like the way we were raised, where like my parents were like, you're not working. Like they were not like, yes, go out there and get a job. It was like, hell no. Because like, I will provide everything you need. You don't have to work. Like, why are you going to go out there and like, you know, like slave away at like getting a 9-to-5 job? For what reason when I'm giving you everything? And I think a part of the reason for that was also because they were just like, you're out in the world more, you know, like who knows what's going to happen when you're out there. It's like a fear thing. It's an overprotective thing. So I think like growing up, we had like a similar, I would say, like way we were raised when it came to those things, where like our father, or like our mom and dad, they kind of did those things for us. Like
Yes.
we didn't have to like, you know, and there's a lot of people that were like, no, we've been working since we were like 16, you know, but like, I think that in that sense, it was a very similar experience. So I feel like we did have a little bit of like an easier upbringing in that way.
Yeah.
Right. And so how do we do that for our kids? And then it's also the question of, was that smart to do that
Yeah.
with your kids? Right. Because then when you do go out into the real world, because eventually you have to, then you're starting from scratch. Whereas the people that were working earlier, they have a resume built up of certain things.
That's
and they've
true.
developed people skills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
And for us, you know what it was at that time when we were growing up, because it was immigrant parents, they were not used to women working.
Oh,
this
that
is something
too.
very important
That
that I
too.
think people don't really understand,
Yeah.
is that it wasn't common for, it's very different now.
Yeah.
But at that time it was not. So when we had asked to work, I think it was also a question of like, why?
yeah.
Like nobody here, like women don't ask to work.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go get educated,
Yeah.
and when your school is done, then you get married.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you stay in the house.
But then it's like, why did I get educated?
It's literally, I think education was the only thing that like was the escape route.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that in quotes because not necessarily, but in terms of like getting out of the house or having friends or having a social life, it
Yeah.
was through school.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when we wanted to ask to work, it was like, nah.
Oh my
you
gosh.
have to stay at home.
Girl, I got in trouble for getting a job. Like
I got in trouble for even wanting to apply.
Yeah. It was like a big thing. My dad was just like, well, why don't you work at my company? And I'm just like, oh, okay. But then I worked there and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Like,
And
it
I
was
think
nice, but
eventually after I did get my first job and like I started working there, and like, you know what, there were certain skills that you learn in your first job.
Yeah.
Like time management,
100%.
like money management.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I did want something, that I knew that I didn't have to ask all the time and I could get it on my own.
Yeah.
And I think when my parents started seeing these skills, they did like and appreciate it.
I think they do appreciate it, but it for me, I think it came from a place of like protecting the girls.
Yeah.
Not so much with my brother, because I think if he was like, he's going to get a job, they'd probably be like, go get one. Right. Or like come work for the family business or whatever it is. But like for us, it was like that. But I think one of the skills that it would have really benefited me at that time was probably like networking.
Yeah.
And like being able to talk to other people, having the confidence to go out and talk to other people, because the reality is, who are you talking to when you're not working? Ain't nobody talking to you.
The
You know?
walls.
Yeah. Like, how do you develop those skills?
From the windows
To the walls.
To the walls.
But it's true. It's true. And it's like, it's really confusing because you're just like, okay, so now like, I'm like, you know, I've graduated, I'm going out into the world. Now all of a sudden I have to develop these like people skills.
Yeah. And can I tell you something? It's so funny. There are some families that like poach their kids.
What?
They will teach them. They will say, like, this is how you talk to an adult. This
Yeah.
is how you can get your way. This is how you get your foot in the door. They teach them these skills,
Wow, I love
right?
that.
It's kind of like public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
And unless you go out and do it, unless you are taught to have a microphone and stand in front of a crowd and present
Yeah,
something,
100%.
you're never going to get over that fear and anxiety.
That's so true.
And it's the same thing with networking. Unless you are taught what kind of questions to ask, like how to take something that somebody is saying and like put a spin to it so that you can all of a sudden, like as a 16-year-old kid, how are you going to relate to somebody talking about golf?
That's so true.
But they are trained to
Yeah.
be like, no, but you can talk about whatever, X, Y, and Z country club. Or like, you can say that you had your part-time job here. You can say that, oh, my friend so-and-so is also at the same like golfing,
Or
whatever.
you could even ask them questions.
Ask
right?
questions like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Is it like for play, or do you do it like competitively? Like,
Yeah.
they are taught certain ways to network that
Yeah.
we were just never taught.
Yeah.
And I think now looking back, I want to train the kids of the next generation, people of color,
Yeah.
how to do this.
Yeah, because networking is a huge skill, guys.
It
like
is.
If you know how to network, you know how to sell yourself. You know how to sell your brand. You know how to sell your business. There's so many good connections that you can create. And right now in this day and age, it's all about the connections.
It is.
It's all about the connections. It's all about putting yourself out there and building that confidence. But I can honestly say for myself, the confidence was at a 0. Okay? Because I don't even think that our parents thought that we needed to interact. Like,
Exactly.
there were times when, like, you know, there would be like a male customer. My dad would be like, no, like, you don't need to deal with that. Like, I'll deal with it. And I understand that too, because I know, like, as a parent, it comes from like a protective place.
It does.
Right. But then I also feel like, unfortunately, like, or fortunately, unfortunately, but like in this day and age, it is a very normal thing. Like, we do have to work. Look at the economy, sister. We gotta work.
We gotta work.
And you do have to interact with like people of the opposite sex. So it's just the way it is.
It is the way
It's
it
just
is.
the way it is. So now my question to you, based off of this,
Yeah.
is: do you feel like growing up as a girl, as a Desi girl, that your parents almost, I don't even know if the right word is groomed, but groomed in the sense of like, you have to be a specific type of way, dress a specific way, speak a specific way, and, you know, just be that perfect Desi daughter, because, you know, your future is you're going to get married, you're going to be a homemaker, etc., and a mom. And do you think that you would be using those same methods with your kids?
I don't know, because I have boys.
Yeah, but like, do you think that, you know, even with your boys, like, do you think that you would be like, oh, I want you to be like this, because this is what a typical Desi man should be like?
So okay, don't get me wrong. I want to, okay?
Yeah.
I want to be like, bro, provide, be the man of the home.
1,000,000%.
You know, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
But also, like, half of me wants to do that, and half of me wants to be like, please pursue a passion project. Please do something that you love.
Yeah.
Please have something even if it's on the side, like, have something that, like, even if you end up going down a regular traditional career path, have something that sparks or ignites like something in you that makes you want to do something new and different every day, right? But that also scares me.
Yeah.
Because what if it's a passion project that I don't approve of?
See, that's the thing that I was going to say. What if they're like, hey, mom, I'm going to go out there and be like a graffiti painter or something?
No, I want to be like,
no offense.
what is it, Banksy?
No offense. Banksy's making a lot of money though.
I know, but he's one out of
that's
3
the
million.
thing.
So
That's the
now
thing.
I'm sitting here being the parent, being like, your chances of being successful right now.
Right. But then, see, that's the confusion, because you're like, do you push them to pursue the passion, or do you be the realist, or do you do a bit of both?
I'm hoping to be a bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will be.
I see. I have a similar stance on it, because I am definitely one of those people that's like very like, I'm emotion based. Okay. So for me, it's like, well, you know, I didn't get to do this, or I felt like this when this happened when I was younger. So I'm going to make sure that I'm not like this. I think a lot of people think that way.
Yeah.
And I think I have a daughter and I have a son. So like with my daughter, I want her to be, I think one of the biggest things for me is like the confidence piece.
Yeah.
Extremely confident, well-spoken, educated, right? But for me, it's also what you said.
Yeah.
That I want you to pursue a passion. And with the son part, 1,000,000% I agree. And I don't think it's a Desi thing to like want him to be a provider.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to have that mentality from the get-go.
Exactly.
And like, it's not to say that like, who knows, in the future they might be married to someone who's like, no, I'm a career woman and I want to work and I want to do that. That's amazing. But at the end of the day, you also have a role. Like for me, that is important.
And I want to also show my kids, because I have boys, even if you find somebody who is a career woman and very like a go-getter and all this, that doesn't mean you get to sit back. And I think that's key. Like, if you have a spouse like that, then you also step up and do even more. And y'all grow together.
Exactly.
Right? And so growing up, everything for me was, you know, what are you going to do after you get married? You don't even know how to do X, Y, and Z. Everything was brought back to me. Like,
marriage.
I couldn't travel.
Yeah.
I couldn't do I couldn't like stay sleepovers. Didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? And even like my clothes were very like, no, you can't wear sleeveless. Wait till you get married. And if your husband says, okay, then maybe you can wear sleeveless. Right? And it was a lot of that. But now that I have boys, I'm very like, no, but like, don't leave your plate at the table.
Yeah.
Get up and put your plate in the sink.
Thank you.
You know,
Same.
like, come on, you gotta start doing that with them too. And I feel like my brothers necessarily didn't have that.
Yeah.
But my sister and I had that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to switch that narrative so that my boys can also get up and put their things in the sink or learn how to cook.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Some of the greatest chefs on this planet are male.
Right?
Gordon Ramsay.
I was about to say that.
We see you with those scrambled eggs.
Right? So like I am 100% for it, because I feel like, but it's also a lot of pressure on us as parents.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, yo, how do I ignite a fire in my child to be a provider?
Yeah. And get them to be like a good in like all skills, and wanting them to like make God knows how much money. Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then like, what's the fine line between you pressuring your child and being like, no, you have to do better. No, you have to do better. And then also just letting them be. You know what
I
I'm
don't want
saying?
to crush their spirit
That's
either.
it. That's the thing.
How many people, like professional athletes, okay?
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard his story about his relationship with his dad?
Right.
But also
His
dad,
success.
his dad is the reason for his success.
Same with like Serena Williams, Venus Williams.
It's
the push,
It is
right?
the push.
It's the
but
push.
it's like where what's the fine line? What's the boundary? And
Yeah.
and how do you set that? I don't know.
I think, you know what it is? I think if it's like a sports related, then I think you do need someone that's in that sport that has done it, that does push them, because if that's what the child wants as well.
Yeah.
But when they're young, they're so young that they don't know what they want. So the parents do push them. So
Yeah.
to a certain extent, I am not the parent that's like, let them do whatever they want, because I think our role as parents is to be like the people that guide them. Right. So I'm not that mom that's like, jo karna hai karo. Like, I'm not that mom. But I do think if I see something in my child, it's like, that's probably the same, similar to you. Like, I see that my child is really good at this. Then you pick up on that and you're like, what can you do with this?
Yes.
How do you elevate? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like you work on those things, but you do have to give them a push, right? It's not like, oh, today I don't want to go for my extracurricular. Oh, sweetie, you don't want to go? Okay, let's just stay home. Like, for me, I'm like, no, I paid for this shit.
Yes.
Your butt's going. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if I feel like after those 2 weeks of me paying for this, you're tired of it and you don't vibe with it, that's a different story.
Yeah.
We can revisit. But like, no, I'm not just going to be a lax parent that's like, no, jo bhi tumhara dil chahta hai, like, it's fine.
Nah,
I can't be that either.
No, same.
Right? Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
speaking on that, I'm also very like, I'm very strict when it comes to their eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of parents might be like, oh, fine, you don't want to eat this. It's okay. And they take the plate away. That doesn't run in my house.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, my kids, listen, and I remember, this is such a like weird thing that I had. I don't know why I have this complex, okay? But I had to make sure that my kids eat eggs. I don't know what it is.
Takat.
Yeah, it's like
like, anda kha lo, takat.
ताकत मिलेगी, दिमाग बनेगा. Eat your badam and eat your ande.
Badam kha lo.
Okay.
Yo, address the badam.
Yo, I have to, and like my kids eat it. You know what I mean? I remember one time I went to my mom's house and I was so tired, and she literally peeled me badam and counted 7.
Stop it.
Handed it to me in my hand and was like, "Chalo kha lo ab."
My grandma used to drop badams off on our side tables every morning. God bless her soul. Every morning it was badam, okay? And I sat there and I was like, I know I did not gain any intelligence from this, but you better believe I ate them damn badams.
Yo, me too.
Okay?
You better
I ate
believe the morning of an exam I was having an anda.
right? And then you're doing prayers to God before the exam, like, God,
Yeah,
please,
Allah, please.
please let me pass.
Please, I know I didn't get a chance to finish studying, but I ate an anda. So I had this complex when I had my kids, and it's because I really don't like eggs, actually.
Okay.
I'm not an egg person, okay? And I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna force it in my and when I tell you, some of them, there were some days where they showed so much nakhra and they would like make this face, and they'd like, sometimes they would throw the whole plate on the ground, andas all over. Guys, it did not matter. They did not get out of their high chair until that anda was done.
Sister.
And the way I would trick them, I'd like give them a Cheerio and then stuff anda in their face. And you know what? Maybe it sounds extreme, but can I tell you, every single morning my kids have anda.
Okay, see,
And
I'm okay with that.
I had to be a little bit like, look, I'm your mom, I'm not your best friend.
Yup.
You know what I mean? And
Facts.
if there are certain things that I truly believe are going to be important and healthy for you, I will make those choices. And maybe 60 years down the road, there's going to be a study that says eggs are so terrible for you.
Right.
And you know what? Then I'll be like, well, you know what? Growing up, it was not the case for me.
But it's the same thing as like what our parents would say. But to your point about this anda situation, it is the same thing as when people are like, when your child says that they are full, they are full. Listen, if my child says she's full, okay, and then 2 seconds later she's saying, Mommy, can I have a snack? You ain't full, okay? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, okay? So that's why I sit there and I'm like, are you full? Because if you ask me for a snack, you're not getting the snack. Then you're finishing the food. You know what I mean? Because they're very smart too.
They're so smart.
You know how they say like the game is the game? The game is the game, and they know how to play the game. These kids, the snack, even like the younger one,
they're the bankers in Monopoly.
Oh my god,
they got it on lock.
Okay,
lock. We need to be 3 steps ahead of them.
Yeah, they've been passing gold. They've been collecting that $200. Okay, and like they're so smart. And you know what? Now my daughter says, she's like, no, mommy, I don't want an unhealthy snack. I want a healthy snack. And I'm like, sister, your healthy snack is sitting right in front of you. Okay, eat your Java and like zip it.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then you know what? And then I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm going to cut you some grapes. And he's like, I don't want the grapes. Mama, can I have the granola bar?
Oh, right.
Excuse me. I thought we were having healthy snacks right now.
I'm so full, mommy. If I eat any more, my stomach's hurting, mommy.
Can I have a Rice Krispie?
Really? Like, I'll have the healthy chocolate, mommy. And I'm just like, why don't I take your chicken, roll it in chocolate, and give it to you? Because you eating that.
Also, guys, so you know how Eid just passed, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to take my son to get him a new shalwar. So he had like the kameez, but the shalwar was too short on him. So I went to Janae Jamshed and I was like, they sell shalwar separate or whatever.
Yeah.
My kid's having a tantrum in Janae Jamshed, okay? No, mama, I don't want to try this on. And I was getting I'm hot and sweaty. I'm getting God. It's my rosa, okay? I'm trying to be very patient. I'm trying to be like, Aruj, it's your rosa. Like, just, whatever.
Yeah.
And my mom was with me and she was like, chalo rehne do. And I was like, Mom, I'm not buying something for him if it's not going to fit him.
Absolutely.
I'm not. And so this was like, I guess this could be going back to the theme of the episode about grandparents, right? She's like, hi, he's crying so much. And she's feeling like she can't handle the cry. I'm also feeling like I can't handle the cry, right?
Yeah.
But I was also like, I'm not going to pay for this expensive outfit
100%.
if I don't know if it's not going to fit
100%.
you. And then I had to Aram say it over and over again. I had to and it took so long. One little trip took 2 hours. But I stood there, I waited until he settled, and I was like, Ibrahim, I cannot buy this for you until I know that it fits you.
Yeah.
Or we can just leave the store and you're not going to have bottoms to wear on Eid.
Yeah.
And so I had to keep saying, it's not like he understood the first time. Over and over again, I'm repeating it. And then eventually I got him to try it on. And you know what? It didn't fit him. So I had to go and be like, I need the other size.
See?
And so, but I couldn't andaze say figure out which one I need.
No, you can't.
I know this is just such a little example, but it's something that happened recently. And so it really goes back to like me also, I wasn't only parenting my son. I was parenting my mom.
And yourself.
And myself. I got to parent 3 people, right? Because I was like, Mom, just give me a second. Mom, go look at some clothes. Mom, step away for a second. Let me deal with what I have to do. Because it's so hard in that situation when you have multiple people over your shoulder trying to help you navigate the situation. And you are also trying to learn what to do.
That's so true. And I feel like it's great that you kept your cool, because I am the type that would be like, I cannot, I'm leaving. I can't do this. Because like eventually you're like, you get embarrassed too that like, oh my God, my child is losing it. People are judging me and they're probably like, look at this mom. She doesn't even know how to hold shit down in gym shade. Like, what the hell's wrong with you, girl?
And honestly, you're getting so frustrated.
But it's also because you're hangry. Okay, you're fasting, so you're hangry, and you're just like, God, please give me the strength. Like, throw some blessings my way. Shut this kid up. Like,
I just need
like
the shalwar for Eid.
Yeah, right.
I want him to have a cute outfit.
And you know, I think every child does this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, when you really need them to be something, like go to sleep, or you need to let them to like calm down, and they will not do it. They will not do it. And in those moments, you're tested. Like God is like, this is the test that I'm sending you for the day.
Honestly, I feel like this is why Ramadan can be so hard on moms.
It is very hard.
It is so difficult. So
it is.
I really hope Allah gave us triple quadrillion the blessings of this month, because we all were tested.
Yeah, we were tested. It was very difficult.
The patience that I needed to somehow find. I channel my inner Yoda.
You're for real. But it's also like, your kids want to play games with you, and you're sitting there like, okay, I'll play with you.
Yeah.
Let me just make you 17 snacks while I'm starving.
God, and during Ramadan, those cheese strings look so good.
Yo, and then sometimes you're making it, all of a sudden you lick some grape juice and you're like, oh my God. I'm telling you. But then you're like, it's okay. God fed me that grape juice. I can accept it. That
was the struggle. I would just be like, Allah knows.
It's actually so funny.
What? And then you put your kids down, and then you have to get aftari ready for yourself.
Oh my God.
Okay, I know this has nothing to do with our but this is gonna be a tangent on Okay Mom. Okay, how different is Ramadan after you're married?
I don't even want to do it.
I don't even. And how lonely is it when it's like not celebrated within your siblings anymore?
God. It is so different.
It's so lonely.
There's no ronak. It's like
no ronak.
No mom wakes you up in the morning and has breakfast ready.
You're that mom.
You're the mom, okay? And when I tell you, you come there, you sit your butt down, silence, nobody's talking, nothing is happening. There's no like Cha's not made for you. You're sitting there cooking your own damn paratha.
Yo.
Sometimes we're like, I'm not making a paratha. I'm warming up a naan.
Yo,
Like,
or the frozen Sean.
Right?
The frozen Sean parathas.
Yo, I'm telling you, it's like very lonely. I think like this Ramzan that passed, my sister and me and my mom, I spent the night at my sister's for like 2-3 days, and like it was the best 2 days that I had because it brought back those memories.
Right?
And it was just like the day goes by faster.
Yeah.
The food is so much better because everybody's kind of doing it together.
Yes.
And it's just like so fun. But when you're alone, it's like talking to walls here.
It's really sad. And then I remember growing up when it was like seti time, we'd come downstairs. First of all, everything would be ready for us to eat.
Yeah.
But like we would still be half asleep, like falling asleep on the kitchen table, right?
Yeah.
But it was like the four of us would come, and sometimes we'd have laugh attacks for no reason.
Yeah.
We're just like poking fun at each other.
Yeah.
We're trying to scarf everything. Oh, there's one more minute left. There's one more minute left. Scarfing everything down. And this time it's just like, it's not just this time. I feel like it's just in general, ever since, I want to say for the past few years, I've just been feeling this like loneliness and emptiness.
100%.
That I feel like hopefully, when the kids are older, it'll change because they'll be participating, and then that Ronak will come back.
Yeah,
but
I hope so.
I really felt like it was so different.
But you know what? Even then, it's still different because like you are the mom for your kids. Like
I know.
no one's taking care of you, yo.
No one is.
It's so different.
It is so
like,
different.
I just like sometimes like I went to my mom's house and it was like, I come downstairs, paratha's made. It's made, sitting on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's like, what do you want to have with it? I warmed this up for you. I warmed this up for you. Oh, here's a fresh cup of chai. And I'm just like, what? Can I just stay here forever?
Probably the easiest rosa too.
It was. And then you're just like, everything is just done. And you're just like, why do I have to do this myself when I don't want to?
And I saw a lot of TikToks where like it would be like point of views, and it'd be like, this is the last iftar you're gonna have, or the last seti, or the last iftar you're gonna have before you get married, because a lot of girls are now getting married after Ramadan.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
it is rough.
It is rough. And they're like recording their brothers doing silly things, and like mom is like making chai, and I was like, this is so cute.
Yeah, or like sometimes you go out with your siblings for seti. Like it's so cute.
You miss it.
Yo, there's a lot of fun memories. But I guess it's also just like that, the realization that like, hey, like you get an opportunity to create new ones. And like maybe because you have such fond memories of your childhood, you want to mimic those for your kids.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one where I'm like, I want to make it as special as possible.
Yeah.
That's actually a great topic because like it also goes into like celebrations growing up. Like I feel like my parents were not big on celebrations. We did not celebrate birthdays at all. Okay. To date, my mom's like, I don't celebrate birthdays. I'm like, all right, cool. And she'll be like, even on her birthday, I'm like, I got you a cake. And she's like, well, don't put a candle on it because I'm not blowing it out. I don't believe in that stuff. She's like, you're just getting closer to your death. And I'm like, all right.
Oh my God.
Like, thanks, Mom. But she's like, yeah, I don't do that. I'm not about it. So like, we never celebrated birthdays. We like, it just wasn't a thing. Like, it just wasn't a thing. But like now for us, it's like, we gotta.
Yeah.
Like, but for us, it also is from a perspective of like, that day was so special when our kids were, not that it wasn't for our parents, but like our view on it is different. Yep. And I think like now we take the opportunity to celebrate everything, including Ramzan. Because it's like, Ramzan rolls around. I don't think our parents did what we did. Like,
no.
They never decorated the house or like did all that stuff. And now for us, it's like, we got to do the Eid gifts. We got to do the wrapping. We got to decorate the house. And everything is like, like very like, it's almost like a really, really exciting moment for your children to go through too. But I don't feel like I experienced that excitement.
I didn't either. And the thing is like, even for Eid namaz and stuff, we never really went to the masjid. Yeah. We'd always go to like banquet halls. Yeah. That would like hold Eid namaz. And like, we did that for a little bit or whatever. But then, here and there, my sister and I, we'd be like, it's our time of the month, so we wouldn't go. So it wasn't always like a thing. But I noticed now, like this year, I felt it a lot where my two eldest sons, they went for Eid namaz, right? And they've been going for a number of years. And they went this year, and the night before they were like, Mom, I'm so excited to go to the masjid. God. And I was like, yeah, are you? And they're like, yeah, we're going to read Eid namaz, and then there's an ice cream truck outside, and we're going to get ice cream. Mama, I want to get the vanilla cone.
Oh my gosh.
And it made my heart so full because I was like, I just want them to hold on 100%. To like the beauty of the month.
100%.
Right? And the beauty in our celebrations. Yeah. And I want them to remember that everybody gets together at Dadi's house and like we exchange gifts. And like,
I love
Dadi and like everybody, Mama, everybody's in the kitchen just coming together, warming food, bringing everybody. Like there's just so much joy.
So much joy.
And I want them to hold on to that joy because even as adults, I experience the joy too. Right? Yeah. So I'm hoping that, we are also, I guess those are things that it still relates back to the topic of the episode, where those are things that our parents definitely did for us.
Yeah.
Where they could, the joy was there.
Yeah. Like they
Right?
did small things in their own way to make those moments special.
Yeah. Like no matter what, my mom always made sure we were able to get our mendi done.
Mendi and like I feel like an outfit, like new outfits. And like my mom's a really good, like she's sewed our clothes since when we were really, really young. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's very talented. And I remember she would always make like the most beautiful, like matching outfits for my sisters
love
and I.
that.
But it was like, she had the matching outfit. Then there was the jewelry, the jurian,
That.
like, everything. And like, I give so much credit because I'm like, yo, their love is a different type of love.
It is.
It's a different type of love, and they did the best they could with what they had.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen that. It's like a poem thing, or like there's like a poet that wrote this, and they said that like, oh, our dad maybe did not give us like affection, but he would buy fruit.
For real.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there and you're just like, that's so true.
It's so true.
The summer mangoes were always there. You know what I mean?
And I'm not gonna lie, here and there, my dad would find falsa.
Yummy, yum.
I don't know where he would find it from, but he would
wanna
bring
tell
it.
us?
We would freeze it.
Oh my
we would make, because I'm addicted to falsa. Okay?
I remember this about you.
And we would make like falsa like smoothies.
Yeah.
We would make like falsa popsicles. Oh. And then we would just like take it out of the little like
Yeah.
Burfi
Yeah,
containers.
yeah.
And we'd be eating falsa all the time. And like I just grew up eating falsa.
Yeah.
Like whenever we'd go to Pakistan, we always went around a time where it was in season.
Yeah.
And like, sorry. But we were like addicted to it. So my dad always had mangoes and falsa. Like it had to be in our house.
But see, like that was like their love language.
It
And
was.
like ours is a little bit different, but it's still there. You know what
Girl,
I mean?
the badam is a love language.
The badam is a damn love. And gadget for the eyesight. Let's be
Yo.
real. Like the amount of gadget I've had. But I'm not wearing glasses.
Yo,
So
it
maybe,
could be.
maybe.
Also, I say that to my kids all the time.
Gadget come.
No.
Gadget for eyesight.
I'll
Maybe
always
it
say
does
it.
work. You know, the other thing I was gonna say about like the holidays was that like now I feel like we're at a point where we're like very proud of like our culture and heritage,
Yes.
religion, and I think our parents were always that way,
Yes.
right? But then I think we went through a phase because we were almost trying to like fit in.
Mm-hmm.
That at times it was like I don't know if we had that pride for like
Yes.
like, oh, we're celebrating Eid, but it's like you go to like elementary school and it's not a big deal. You're just
Yeah.
like, it's Eid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not like, now I'm like, yo, it's Eid.
Yeah.
It's very different. And I think our kids, they get super excited like how Christmas used to be celebrated back in the day.
Exactly.
And for them, that is like what it is, like a huge thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's maybe like things have changed a lot more. It's a lot more of a multicultural like country and whatnot. But I think that we have the opportunity to like change from how it was to how it is now. You know what I'm saying? I hope that
and
makes
you know
sense.
what? It's so funny that you said that because whenever Eid rolls around,
Yeah.
so I don't really gift like any of the educators in
Yeah.
my kids' lives. I don't really gift them on the winter break or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything. Only if they're leaving, I'll gift them.
Yeah.
But when it's Eid,
Yeah.
you know your girl's pulling up with the big tins of coffee and chai and a massive cake slab.
And not to
I give it-
mention the iftari little boxes that you give.
Yo, and I gotta give out. Anytime I see anybody in Ramadan, you're getting an iftari box.
I got one for like 4 years straight. They're so cute.
I love doing it, and
I
you know
love
my
it.
kids know that we do it too. Like we pack iftars, or like I take kajurs, or like we do this whole thing, and they just know that this is a thing we're gonna do.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you
yeah,
gift your neighbors. You
Love that.
You know, Ibrahim was like, "Oh, Mama, are you gonna get coffee for my teachers because it's
love
Eid?"
that.
Like he
Yeah.
knows that I do
Yeah.
that now,
Yeah.
right? So I just wanna. There are certain things that I want to do, and I want them to be very proud of like when the month rolls around, when our celebrations roll around,
Absolutely.
and be so proud of like. And how fun and exciting it can be for other celebrations. We
Yeah.
make it that fun and exciting for us during this time.
Exactly. I think it's really important, and I have to give our generation, a lot of credit for it too, because I feel like we are the generation that like has kind of broke those, you know, like those. Is it like a taboo? I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but we've kind of broke that generational stuff where it's like, no, we want to be proud of like who we are, instill that pride in our children. I think that's really important.
And you want to know something that's so cool that teachers are doing in schools
What?
now? The school iftaris, man.
I love that.
How cool is that?
That is amazing.
I wish growing up, my school had an iftari and I could go there with my entire family.
100%.
That would be so. And I
That
know
would be
my parents
so
would be like,
fun.
"This is amazing."
Yeah.
So many schools did iftaris this year. Shout out to all the teachers that organized it.
Yeah.
And I also saw a lot of people doing it. I saw this one teacher. She even did a samosa making workshop at her school.
That is the coolest
And
thing
you know,
ever.
she called like families to come in and learn how to make samosas for iftar. And you know what she said to me that really hit home?
What?
She was like, it was so nice to see the dads come out.
I love that.
How cool is that?
That is so cool because y'all know the samosas are popping.
You know our iftaris?
Yo, the
Pakode,
food?
the spring rolls,
Girl.
the samosa, the chaat.
No, like desi food is on another level. We've said this so many times, okay? But I would also say like it's not just like our like celebrations as like Muslims, but it's South Asian celebrations in general, or like just involving every other culture and like being proud of our culture and like where we've come from. Because let's be real, you know, like we deserve some recognition too, guys.
Oh, yes, we do. And I love that we're just out here like voicing it and fighting for like what we fighting for space
Yeah, exactly.
in a space where we weren't always recognized.
1,000,000%. And on that note, sister, all right, guys, that was our episode.
That was our episode.
I feel like we got a little deep today.
Yeah, we did. It was
It
really
wasn't
good.
so kiki cuckoo.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't so much that. Like we're bringing it back. But you guys, we're gonna ask a question in our Instagram. Make sure you guys go and check it out. It's either a question or it's a poll. So make sure you guys check that out. We're linking everything below right here. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. It means the world to us. If you're following us on Spotify, give us that 5 stars, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.